With all that's going on, let's see, in Russia, the Ukraine, and Putin going into the disputed area of Ukraine, I remember some of my high school history, so I decided to go back in time. Let's see. Remember Adolf Hitler? He pulled a similar stunt. Nazi Germany, Sudetenland. There's a map of how Germany looked. Czechoslovakia goes into Germany. You have Austria here. So at the end of World War I, the treaties of Versailles, Saint-Germain, and Trianon broke the Austro-Hungarian Empire and took land from both countries and also from Germany to give to other countries. Why is that? Because Germany lost the war and the Austria-Hungary Empire broke up. The Sudetenland was taken away from Germany and the Austro-Hungarian Empire and given to Czechoslovakia. The region contained Czechs, Germans, Slovaks, Hungarians, Poles, and Ruthenians. Although American President Woodrow Wilson had wanted people in disputed regions to be allowed to decide where they would live, this did not happen. When Adolf Hitler came to power, he promised to rip up the Treaty of Versailles and claim back land that had been taken away from Germany. In 1936, he had marched soldiers into the Rhine-Line region and reclaimed it for Germany. In March 1938, German troops marched into Austria. The Austrian leader was forced to hold a vote asking the people whether they wanted to be part of Germany. The results of the vote were fixed and showed that 99% of Austrian people wanted Anschluss, union with Germany. Yeah. The Austrian leader asked Britain, France, and Italy for aid. Hitler promised that Anschluss was the end of his expansionist aims, and not wanting to risk war, the other countries did nothing. Remember that? That's what they call the appeasement of Hitler and Neville Chamberlain. Hitler did not keep his word, just like Putin wouldn't keep his word, and 6 months later demanded that the Sudetenland region of Czechoslovakia be handed over to Germany. Neville Chamberlain, Prime Minister of Britain, met with Hitler 3 times during September 1938 to try to reach an agreement that would prevent war. The Munich Agreement stated that Hitler could have the Sudetenland region of Czechoslovakia, provided that he promised not to invade the rest of Czechoslovakia. Hitler was not a man of his word, same like Putin, and in March 1939 invaded the rest of Czechoslovakia. Despite calls for help from the Czechoslovak government, neither Britain nor France was prepared to take military action against Hitler. However, some action was now necessary, and believing that Poland would be Hitler's next target, both Britain and France promised that they would take military action against Hitler if he invaded Poland. Chamberlain believed that, faced with the prospect of war against Britain and France, Hitler would stop his aggression. Chamberlain was wrong. German troops invaded Poland on the 1st of September 1939, and this post is part of our collection of resources on Nazi Germany. So This is history repeating itself here. We have a modern day man who saw history. Well, he wasn't alive then, but going through the history books, we saw how dangerous that was with Adolf Hitler. And the excuse was that, the German people in that part of Czechoslovakia, they speak German. And this is the same thing this is a similar reason that Putin is given. That in the disputed areas of Ukraine, you have people who speak Russian, and that he's sending Russian troops in there as peacekeepers. So he created a problem, and then he said, "These people are peacekeepers. This is why I'm sending them in." You see, under a pretext. So my friends, we have a modern day Adolf Hitler on our hands, that's willing to set the European continent on a path of war. Yep, that's where we headed, down that street. A path of war Europe is looking at right now under Putin. He already went into Georgia, the country of Georgia. Already took Crimea. Remember Crimea? That was, if you go back into the 19th century, the British, the French, and also the Ottoman Empire, they all teamed up and waged a war against Russia. And they fought in the Crimean War. I'm not even sure what that war was about, Yeah, I don't remember. But I remember reading about Florence Nightingale, who, I guess she was she came from a aristocracy in England, and she served like a nurse in the Crimean War. She was sent over there, and she was helping the wounded soldiers and so forth, the British. So she served back then, and that was in the mid 1800s when they were fighting against Russia at the time. And then years later, Putin decided he's going to take Crimea from Ukraine. So look at where we're heading. We're heading down the road to a new type of war in Europe that we haven't seen in ages, since Adolf Hitler.